To the consternation of marine scientists in Australia and internationally, it looks like the Cronulla Fisheries Research Centre of Excellence is dead in the water. One claimed impact, a loss of continuity in shark monitoring vital to public safety. 3 weeks ago, without notice or consultation, Deputy Premier Andrew Stoner and Primary Industries Minister Katrina Hodgkinson announced that the centre would be closed and its research functions transferred to the Mid-North Coast, the Central Coast and the South Coast. The decision was made by these two ministers, not the full Cabinet. The ministers say no positions will be lost. It's part of decentralisation. But shocked scientists and the local Liberal MP say it's destructive. Scientists and staff from the Cronulla Fisheries Research Centre of Excellence took to the streets at Sylvania Waters this week to protest outside a Liberal Party fundraiser about the closure of the internationally recognised facility.
Save our jobs and fisheries!
Since the announcement by Primary Industries Minister Katrina Hodgkinson that the Cronulla Centre would be mothballed and its functions moved up and down the New South Wales coast, the scientists and their supporters have been trying to make a lot of noise.
It has 19 PhD workers here, 50 other degrees, an iconic institution, a very important employer in Cronulla, and I was very disappointed.
Dissenting from the government decision is the new Liberal member for Cronulla, Mark Speakman.
The vast majority of the staff here will not relocate, so you won't relocate the functions here, you'll destroy them.
Were you consulted?
No, I wasn't.
So you were blindsided by your own government?
Well, look, I'm more interested in looking forward and not looking back at how we've come to this position. I'm more interested in standing up for the people of Cronulla, the fisheries and the scientific community, and if I have to tread on a few toes to do that, I will.
The public of New South Wales own the fish that's in the seas and rivers around here.
Collaterally damaged from the decision is the Primary Industries Department's Chief Scientist, Professor Steve Kennelly, Director of Research at Cronulla. He's effectively been demoted, his future uncertain. Professor Kennelly declined to be interviewed. An email survey of the 152 staff, which includes 47 scientists, has indicated that around 96% say, for family or personal reasons, they can't or won't move to Port Stephens or Coffs Harbour or the South Coast, leaving the O'Farrell government now facing a big redundancy bill. Aside from the human impacts, what about the science, say the scientists? The Cronulla Fisheries Research Centre has been in continuous operation since 1905. Its biggest assets, apart from the community of marine science expertise, are these recently upgraded seawater fish tanks, which can be flushed with seawater each day, a process vital to the growing, ageing and monitoring of fish species in uncontaminated near-natural conditions. As well, there's nationally and internationally coordinated oceanic research.
The closure of the Cronulla site is going to be a disaster for fisheries research in this state. It really is.
Professor Ian Southers of the University of New South Wales says he cannot believe the O'Farrell government could be so destructive to this state's educational and scientific contribution to national oceanic monitoring.
So what's at stake is the loss of enormous talent that may or may not be prepared to move up to Port Stephens, and also the effect of the ocean observing system. Sydney lives beside a warm ocean current that is strengthening now due to climate change, and that's been well documented, and has resulted in a rise of 2 degrees Celsius in southern New South Wales and in Tasmania. This has had tremendous effect on the local Tasmanian fisheries, and it's only a matter of time before it starts to impact our own fisheries. So we need the marine scientists in the Sydney area.
It's the loss of continuity of the shark meshing and shark monitoring work from Cronulla which most distresses Dr Vic Peddemors, a senior scientist at the research centre.
4 boats bring their catch back to me here, and I'm able to process and work up exactly what goes on. So it's quite critical to be central to the shark meshing program. Last year we had 26 tagged bull sharks swimming around Sydney Harbour, which is astronomically high. We weren't expecting that at the start of the project, quite honestly. We need to continue that. We need to get a better assessment of what these sharks are doing in our harbour, and are they posing any risk to the users of Sydney Harbour.
The government's decision to close Cronulla is supported by the Professional Fishermen's Association, representing 1,000 of this state's licensed commercial fishermen who contribute research funds through a self-imposed levy. We were unable to interview the association CEO, John Harrison, but in a statement, Mr Harrison said,
"Our support is based on the need for a cultural change within fisheries management and taking commercial fishing management closer to the clients, i.e. the fishers. We know about 75% of the catch by volume of commercial fishing occurs north of Sydney, and to have the management and researchers working at Coffs Harbour and Port Stephens near to that action makes sense to industry."
There's this perception that there's more commercial fishing happening in the northern waters of New South Wales. That perception's incorrect. There's actually more commercial fishing happening Sydney and south of Sydney.
From her electorate office in Yass, Primary Industries Minister Katrina Hodgkinson told us that the decision to move the Cronulla research functions was non-negotiable.
The facility is an old facility. It has got very limited scope for expansion. It's very limited with its access as well. We've got fantastic facilities at Port Stephens already. I've fully inspected that site. There's some fantastic research going on at Port Stephens. I've also inspected sites at Coffs Harbour, including the National Marine Science Centre, which we have fisheries officers in already, and we're there in conjunction with Southern Cross University. And also there's fisheries officers in the building at the jetty there in Coffs Harbour as well. Look, there's fantastic research happening, world-class research happening at other locations. In the instance of the National Marine Science Centre there in Coffs Harbour, that's actually attracting international researchers to that facility because it's so modern and up-to-date. There are really fantastic things happening in regional New South Wales, and I think the time's right for this expansion to happen. So decentralisation will be very positive for our regions, and while change is difficult, I'll be making sure that every staff member gets as much attention as possible and is afforded every opportunity with assistance to help them to relocate.
Minister, the scientists dispute this claim about a greater volume of fish being caught north of Sydney. That debate will go on, I'm sure. But if you want to assist the commercial fishermen at Port Stephens and Coffs Harbour, why not move individual research projects up there rather than close down the entire Cronulla Centre and its relevance to commercial and recreational fishing and all its other public benefits in the Sydney region?
Well, we can continue to have some programs operating out of Sydney. Obviously, we'll need to do that. They don't need to. There's nothing that compels for that to happen at Cronulla. What happens with the future of the Cronulla site will be up to the local community, and I'm really encouraging the local community to come forward with a working group to decide what will ultimately happen with that site.
Around 96% of the Cronulla scientists and support staff say they can't or won't go, leaving you with a big redundancy bill at a time when New South Wales is strapped for cash. How can this be justified?
Well, look, obviously when change occurs, people will need to go through the variety of emotions that will normally be undertaken when there is going to be something like a decentralisation occur within their industry. That's natural, that's normal. We will be working very closely with staff to make sure that they're given every opportunity to learn about the decentralisation process and to assist them to move if that's what they want to do. So I'd like to encourage everybody to give regional New South Wales a chance. There are some fantastic opportunities out there in the regions, and the centres that we've chosen are fantastic family centres. They're of decent size, big size, so that the opportunities that are afforded to them within Sydney are going to be very similar to what's there in regional New South Wales as well.
Is this decision negotiable?
No, look, this decision has been made. As soon as the decision was made, we went straight to the staff and told them so that rumours wouldn't be abounding. That decision was made a couple of weeks ago. Staff were told straight away the decentralisation will be going ahead.